Didn't? Oh, there we go. All right, we should have audio now. How's that, guy that's watching?
Great. Good stuff. Great.
Can you hear us now? Can you hear us now? Yeah, got it. Awesome. Thanks, guys. Yeah, so Kyle's fancy, stupid little thing that he bought to switch between two cameras overtook my my audio setup that I'd worked all evening on. So apologies for that. Anyway, take two. Welcome. We're here in the Park Clubhouse. We're Park Media, and we're covering the Vic Tour this year. We're covering every event, and we're going to jump into this clubhouse semi-regularly. And the 4 or 5 of us are going to talk about the events we've just had, what's coming up, any big things in Australian disc golf, and point out some things that we might have noticed back and forth in the rounds that we've seen so far. We had a huge event in Ballarat a couple of weeks ago, the Golden City Classic. We've got some highlights from that to show. Well, are they highlights? I don't know. One highlight certainly is the inclusion of a guy that we've been looking forward to getting in the clubhouse with us. You love him, you know him, you saw him on Nationals. Matty Faz, ladies and gentlemen. How are you doing, Matty?
I'm great to be back on park coverage, guys. I watched last week's episode, was very jealous that I couldn't be there, but I was enjoying Japan. I already made a joke about being in the studio with Notorious B.I.G. because of the gold microphones. I'm not going to do it again. It doesn't feel authentic. Thanks for having me, and I hope everyone enjoys my presence.
Amazing. Thanks, Matty. I'm glad to hear Notorious B.I.G. was the reference you made, not John Laws, that I was worried someone would make with the gold microphone. I think Jason did earlier. Jason Weedner's here too from last week, one half of the Crush Brothers, sitting on the couch there. How you doing, Jason?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Ash. And excited to be here again. Good to have Matty here.
Is
Good
it?
to have Matty Faz, my old sparring partner, next to me here. So just bouncing off each other again.
Chemistry is reigniting.
So, yeah, I'm looking forward to getting in and chatting some disc golf. Been a bit happening.
Yeah, there has certainly been a bit happening. And speaking of a bit happening, there's a bit happening on the end of the couch with Kyle Herbertson.
Thank you. Lovely to be here. I feel like I'm the third wheel on this couch, but I will make myself useful, I'm sure, boys. Take it away.
Keep my hands up here.
Amazing. And look, we've got a special surprise. Some of the feedback we got on the first episode, mainly from Victorian people, but some of the feedback we got on the first episode was there's not enough Geelong. There's not enough Geelong. You're not including Geelong. You didn't mention Inverleigh enough. And so we're going to try and remedy that this week. We're bringing some Geelong into the mix. You might have seen him on the final day of Nationals as well. But I'm going to try and bring him in now. He's on the line. He's been doing some stats for us. He's also a bit of a nerd. So Kyle enjoys his presence. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Mr. Dean Feeley. How are you, Dean?
Good, mate. Good. How are you?
You, Dean? Are you on mute?
No, not on mute.
Yeah, Dean, we can't hear you, mate, but we might.
Is your volume turned up on your computer?
Yeah.
You know Auslan, Dean. Auslan.
We can hear you. Just us.
I can hear you.
All right, so yeah, I might get some headphones in so that I can hear Dean. There we go. Audience can hear Dean. Thanks, Chris.
Lucky audience.
It's Chris Reynolds, ladies and gentlemen. There's a man that knows some audio issues. They worked those very adverse couple of months of crawlers there. It was good to hear. Dean, can you say something now?
Yeah. What? Anything you want. Go
amazing.
dark.
Got you. All right. I've got you now, Dean. Fantastic, mate. How you doing tonight?
No, going great. It's been a rough sort of rushing around to get all these numbers for you, but we're all ready to go.
Amazing. We're looking to hear what you bring to the table tonight, mate. So we're going to be crossing back and forth to you. You're going to be sitting there the whole time. Chime in when you feel like it. I might try and get the speaker up in the room so that we can actually hear what you're saying there. Tonight first thing we've got to do. I mean, we talked about it a bit last week. Dean might have some input on that too. But we did talk about it a bit last week. Before we go any further, like and subscribe, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't like and subscribe to our channel, I don't know how you found this stream. But if you don't like and subscribe to our channel, please do. Tell your friends, share this stream, get around it. Now, let's get into business, guys. We've had a lot of stuff happen in the world of Australian disc golf over the last week, over the last few days. We talked about player movements and player signings a lot last week. I want to get your thoughts on a few of the big ones that have happened over the couple of days. Matty, Kyle, Jason, Dean, is there anything you've noticed over the last couple of days?
It's going to be two.
Well, some pretty big news dropped.
Sorry, guys. Two huge signings, each, I reckon, equally important, should we say, depending on the parked universe. Who wants to really give the reveal
Speak freely, speak openly.
Yeah, so the first big one we noted that Dean alluded to there. Can you hear us now, mate?
Yeah, no, bro, all good now. Yeah, just cut out for a second.
Awesome. Great. Yeah, so the first big one we alluded to happened yesterday. So it came out of nowhere, or yesterday? Yeah, it was last night, wasn't it? Austin D'Alessandro, Discmania.
Look, I'm not surprised at all. We've seen enough of him on coverage over the last 12 months to know that the man likes his shields. But yeah, it's been great to see. I never thought it would have happened. It's been a very rare occurrence for an Australian to make their way onto the Discmania team. Basically, anyone who's not in the US or Europe.
Well, he's the first ever Australian to be signed to Disc Draft in any manner.
Well,
am I correct in saying that?
I don't think so. Dean, have you? No, that wasn't you. We did see a comment last night. Someone now. I'll just digress very slightly on this subject. But so Austin's gone with Disco Player Agency coming out of Sydney this week. We mentioned that last week. Obviously, I mean, I'd assume he's been trying for some time to get on this Discmania team. Made an immediate difference. And the agency, or the gentleman from the agency, posted in Australian Disc Golf Shenanigans last night that he is the first Australian or the first Aussie signed to Discmania. And Chris Finn refuted that. I don't know who the first one was. I'm going to assume it's probably Finney. But apparently there has been another one. But also I wondered if the agency or the agent meant he was the first guy called Aussie signed to Discmania. So yeah, it's pretty huge. Pretty huge for Austin. Any other thoughts on that?
Not really. No. Good to see him signed to a long-time love of his. So as long as he's happy, the dog, then I think Australian Disc Golf's happy.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Happy dog, happy life. Now, Dean, you might want to bring this one in, being a local, but there was some pretty big news out of Geelong yesterday.
Yeah, no, if you haven't heard the tee-off episode, definitely go back and listen to that. But our very own local, Timmy Bowen, has announced he's signing with Prodigy, which is a very interesting sort of career move for a guy who loves a mixed bag of Taipans and Firebirds and the like. So,
I mean, that's exactly the thing. You just said mixed bag and referred to two discs, Steve. He won't have too many troubles.
Two different suppliers. I could go through his whole bag, but we've got this is a casual round, nice short episode.
Now,
were you shocked though?
I was a little bit shocked. I thought that with the success he'd seen and the number of lead cards we'd seen him on Park Media, don't mess with perfection.
What about you, Matty? Were you shocked?
I just wouldn't have picked Prodigy for Tim. When he announced it on the pod, I thought it was a bit of a gag at first. I'm not sure of what nature, but they're just not the brand that I would have related to Timmy.
Yeah, so everyone seems a little shocked by it. Well, I can tell you, I'm not shocked.
And why is that,
I
Jake?
am not shocked at all because I'm pretty sure I picked a moment. I've watched a lot of Tim play disc golf in the last year. I picked a moment exactly when I felt like Tim changed his mind about his disc, that he might do something a little different, that he might need to sort of change it up. I mean, I don't know if we have any.
I think I know what you're talking about.
I reckon I pinpointed the exact point in time. And if you look closer, there he goes, just throwing over the water on hole 17. See the double teapot stand? That is a dead giveaway.
It is.
That is a dead giveaway. So now he's having another crack. And this one, no, that's not a Prodigy disc either, Tim. And wait for the splash. And there it is. So I reckon that was about the point in time in which he's going to hate me for this.
I think that was his seventh throw, wasn't it?
He currently dislikes
but
it.
he needs to throw some Prodigy. Obviously, that's a joke, and that's sorry I've run away with that a little bit there. Timmy, if you're watching, I'm sure you are. Obviously, that's not the reason. He's put a lot of thought into it, and he's decided to go with Prodigy and go down that path, and we wish him all the best of luck. And obviously, it had nothing to do with those two shots. But it may have had something to do with this next shot.
Oh, come on.
Oh, no! That's not a Prodigy disc golf.
He's rolling straight into the Prodigy Warehouse with that one.
No teapot on that throw. Stop the pain.
Tim, I'm so sorry about that.
Well, I think
I hope you can see it in your heart to forgive me. But we're happy that you've gone to Prodigy, mate. We wish you all the very best.
it's huge. And as Sam Stoyer pointing out in the chat,
Tim. I feel bad.
the Max Height Star Destroyer pointing out in the chat, we all know Timmy is the natural replacement for Gannon Burr.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think
Look,
F10 for
Gannon-
Bowen. F10 for 10 Bowen. I like it. Yeah, well, that'd be even flippier an F10 than the two that he dunked in the drink there.
Look, it might have even gotten him over the water being that flippy.
This is a good old-fashioned pile on this. Is. Can we these up?
Sorry,
Look,
Tim.
we do love our Timmy here, and we wish him all the best because, as Jason said last week, Tim Bowen equals content at Park Media. He's been incredible to us. He's incredible to play with, and we wish him all the best at Prodigy or throwing Prodigy this year. I think Kyle and my spare racks are going to take an absolute hammering from Timmy. We obviously wish Ozzy all the best throwing Discmania, which he pretty much did anyway. So, keep doing what you're doing, Ozdog. And I think that's it. I mean, we've had a lot more player movements within Australian disc golf. There's been some retailer team stuff that's happened. There's been some.
Can I interject? Are you talking about all the team announcements over the past month?
Yeah.
I'm gonna steal the show here for a moment, guys. Bear with me. I'm gonna introduce a segment. Okay, now we all know that I'm no stranger to a bit of a meltdown. I'm probably alluding to Hole 3, Mount Gambier. Yes, lead card. Managed to blow a tournament in roughly 6 to 8 minutes with a +10 on one hole. But my meltdowns aren't exclusive or limited to the course. Okay, I melt down in real life all the time. I'm a high school teacher. Okay, it's a daily occurrence for me. But social media triggers me too. All right, and before I get into this, it can't be understated how much all of the manufacturers and all the online shops do for Australian disc golf.
This sounds serious.
This made me melt down. I've been melting down over the past couple of weeks. It's been boiling and boiling. Look, I'm talking about player announcements and sponsorships, okay? And, something has caught my eye on social media, and it caught my eye again. And then I logged into Instagram, and it caught my eye again. And this happened for 2 to 3 weeks, okay? I'm talking about the posting trends that have littered our feeds in the last month, okay? The team announcements that have been rolled out. You guys know what I'm talking about, yeah?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
okay.
Yeah.
And look, the inclusion of the team element to competitive disc golf in Australia, awesome progress. I think it brings a whole new dimension to the competition. But the way they've been rolled out, okay, I've done some research here. I sat on Instagram for about 2 hours. I've collated some data, okay? The individual posts about each individual that's playing for each individual team, all right? I've got a list of worst to best.
Righto.
Best to worst, depending on your point, on your perspective here. The team, the online shop, who have inundated your feeds with the most amount of player announcement posts. At the top, number 1, Disconnection. 37 individual posts announcing 37 individual players. And that's not including the 2 announcements or the announcements of the announcement. I can't be the only one. You're not looking at me.
Okay. No, you're going for the big fish, Matty. I like it. Yeah.
Good start.
We know Reece Valios comes from a disc golf family. He's cultivating a small disc golf nation. 37 team members. Yeah. That's more than the manufacturers overseas.
No, you probably Well, your star teams and your frontline teams. Yeah, it's probably more of those. But they did have levels of those teams, didn't they, Matty?
Yeah.
All right, so Matty's angry at Disconnection supporting a lot of players. All right, what do you got next, Matty?
Number 2, Kingfisher.
Okay. Kingfisher. Oh, yeah. So go for the really big, well-established one. Yeah. All right. What have they done?
I actually hadn't followed them until I thought of this segment. I had to follow them on Tuesday night to do
I've got a lovely shirt. Yeah.
19 individual posts, 25 team announcements. So they did it a bit better. Okay, they condensed a couple of their posts. They put Janet Ford Adams and Doug on the one post, for example.
The Adams family.
Yeah, so it was a little less. We rehearsed that and everything.
Okay.
coming at number 3, Ash, your mob, Heiser Flight.
Get in.
17 posts, 17 announcements, 17 individual players.
Get in, Heiser Flight.
One announcement.
One big announcement too from Heiser Flight.
And what would that be?
That's the big fella on board this year. Yeah, that's me.
Like
Ash
Blake
is-
Houston.
Sorry, Matty.
No, Ash, if you hadn't broadcast that yet, Ash is on Team Heiser
Well, I
Flight.
think Ash was one of those social media posts. 3, maybe 4, or maybe 5.
Yeah.
What I noticed about Ash's post too, it was one image, 3 photos of Ash. He was the only guy that got multiple images.
Yeah, they asked for everyone to supply their own photo, so that's what I supplied.
Yeah, you must
But
have
they narrowed down out of the 30 that you sent them.
Sorry, Matty, go ahead.
And look now, I've got an announcement of my own. Okay?
Oh.
And I'd like to make it
hang on.
official. This is a Park Media exclusive. I'd like to officially announce that Heiser Flight have rejected me for 2024. Yes,
Well done, Matty.
about a month ago they put up a
Well done,
post.
mate.
Thank
Well
you
done.
I'm
guys.
so proud
Thank
of
you
you.
guys. I knew I could do it if I really just sort of put myself out there and just did what I knew I was capable of doing. So about a month ago, Heiser Flight put out the post. If you want to be on the team, send us an email. I think the problem was the way that I sold myself. I said that I'm a RSend MA2 player who's mates with Ash Weidner. And it just wasn't enough to get me over the line.
Yeah, fair enough, mate. Look, yeah, I can probably put in a good word for you, but
I've got a year to show my stuff.
You do.
Next year, 2025, Team Heiser Flight.
Yeah.
I want that team shirt, best team shirt out there.
yeah, I haven't got one yet, but apparently they've been ordered. They're on the way. But if you are interested, and Matty brings up a salient point they talked about on the tee off yesterday. If you are interested in being a sponsored player, joining a team, listen to the section on the tee off where Tim talks about joining in on Prodigy. It was really interesting to hear 3 sponsored players, a couple of guys that give out sponsorships, talking about how to get yourself looked after by one of Australia's premier retailers in AusDiscs and the others.
Can I ask how much we're charging for this ad space, or are you just doing your own thing here?
One blue triangle Heiser Flight shirt. Thank you very much.
That's all I want.
All right, who's next, Matty?
I won't keep it. I won't hold this up too much longer. Disc Golf Warehouse at number 4. 12 posts, 11 team announcements, 1 announcement. Reasonable, okay. Flying Disc Store. Now they did it the best. Now, granted that Flying Disc Store have a separate page for their team, but what they did, 3 posts, 3 videos, 30 team members. Perfect. Fergie, I tip my hat to you. I got to see everyone on the team. I wasn't seeing an individual post every day because the problem is we all like these pages, right? So they're the first thing that appear on my feed. And it just got mind-boggling, mind-bogglingly incessant. The advent calendar. How did we feel about the Flying Disc Store advent calendar?
Got some good deals, wasn't there?
Some
How long
great
we asked
deals.
Dean? We've got a flying ace on the line. With Dean Feeley is a flying ace. I'm not sure which
An ace-hole.
how many stripes he's got or which level of. Are you a commissioned
Squadron.
officer, Dean, or a?
He's lieutenant, maybe?
Just be careful what we say, Matty. I don't want to drive down there at this late hour.
Would
think
you
they do
drive, or
fine.
would you get in a Spitfire or a Mustang or something?
Take it out of the hangar on a Thursday night.
So how do you feel about it, Dean? Flying Aces, their posting rate, could they do more? I noticed they put you on a picture of you today on their post about all the winners of the Golden City Classic. Did you
I
notice
did see
that?
a list of winners. My 7th place wasn't on there.
Ooh.
But no, it was. I think they've got a few more announcements for 2024. It still hasn't come, so it's good to sort
Make
of.
sure they announced the announcement on Instagram.
Are you telling me Matty has to count above 5?
I think.
Oh.
If you see me play disc golf, I often have to count down 5.
Before we flick on to the last slide we've got here, we haven't covered all of the teams. We've basically looked at the ones that we looked at last week for our F1 points tally. And speaking of our F1 points tally, Matty, who's the last team you looked at?
The team with the quality over quantity award is Jindy Disc Golf Store. They had 6 posts for 6 players, and those 6 players are all verified studs of Australian disc golf. So I also tip my hat to the Gingy Disc Golf Store and Tom out there in Jindabyne.
Well, when you're leading the points tally, or our version of the points tally at the end of the year, a lion doesn't need to tell you it's a lion.
So that is going to be. Sorry, I only watched half.
Well, we'll do it for majors this year. We'll figure out a point system.
That's
Dean's
awesome.
going to work on that.
That's awesome.
That
could become a new competition.
I think, what did we call it last year? The Retailers Cup.
Retailers Cup.
Yeah,
that needs a bit of workshopping. That title, it's a bit boring, but the idea is fantastic.
Yeah, and there's obviously other teams out there. There's Bergs have got a bunch of players. Who else have we got? Cross Tasman. They don't have any. I don't think.
Clayton Beck.
Clayton Beck. Okay. Yep. Bespoke have got Ruben Berg. So there's other teams out there. What we did was focus on the main retailers that have the depth of players there. Frosty looks like he's just rolled in there. If you haven't checked out the spring sling coverage on our channel, check it out because we've got Frosty the Slow Man. I think he's got that on the chat right now, and he does some great commentary.
The boys are just now looking at the screen, so delayed reaction.
So
brilliant.
Such a simple play on words, but so effective.
It's absolutely made the boys flat. Frosty the Slow Man. Righto. So okay, Matty. All right, I'll take your point there. It's a lot. I mean, as a retailer, you've got to support your players. You've got to post on social media. You've got to plug your brand. What do you have players for other than to plug your brand, sell your de-asks, all of that sort of stuff? Any other thoughts from the floor before we move on?
I'm a bit flat after just watching Matty just melt down there. It's just it was a lot to take in. So
every time it happens, it hurts you more.
It does.
You just see it coming.
You see a man in distress, and he's obviously it's got under his skin, and he's reacted. He's reacted. He can't keep it inside. So.
Okay, let's just clarify. It was a bit of fun, but it did stem from the fact that Heiserfly just palmed me. They gave me the stiff arm. I just wanted that cool shirt.
Yeah. What did you put in your application? Just the you mean?
I'll show you later.
I can show you my application if you like and give you. Actually, I didn't write one. They just asked me. So,
okay. We're done with this segment.
Alrighty.
They are some of the viewers.
Moving along.
It's definitely because of how I play and got nothing to do with this arrangement at all.
No.
All right. So, Golden City Classic happened a couple of weeks ago. I think not last weekend, the weekend before in Ballarat. Any of the amateur players got one of these sweet Innova Halo discs as their players pack. Nothing more, nothing less. I got myself a Halo It. Definitely
fantastic.
Yeah, I don't mind it.
Review Kyle's one.
Good. It's a little thing. Dean played. How did you find the tournament, Dean?
Oh, it's always an outstanding sort of event, the Golden City Classic. Usually the first one of the season. I know they had hot start this year in Melbourne, but usually the first major sort of tournament to get us going for the season. And weather was, pretty good for Ballarat in January. So take out the disc golf and it was an all right weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. A bit of shade from down the Meredith Highway from Geelong there on the regional competition. But I like that, Dean. Now, I think with that event, we all went down and played except for Matty. But let's hand over to Jace. I think Jason's got a quick recap, and then Dean's going to pull out some key stats that we noticed at the Golden City Classic.
So, as Ash said, Golden City Classic. Now, we had some good weather. We spoke to Reece Circuit, the mayor of Ballarat, and asked him to turn the weather on, and he managed to do so. It was a nice day on the Saturday, and then it faded a bit on the Sunday, but it was a great tournament, and they never let you down. But just to recap the divisions, there was obviously some winners and some losers. But starting with the FJ15, Miley Nicholson won by a shot over her sister, Ayla Nicholson, which was the day after Ryan Nicholson's birthday. So real family affair down there. But, one shot between the sisters. Isn't that great? She's got a sibling, Miley, that she can play against and they can sort of go through disc golf together.
Yeah, it is. It's nice. Probably one wins sometimes. The other one wins most of the time.
Oh, right. Yeah, no worries. The time will come. You're not getting any younger.
It's going to be like the Williams sisters one day. You never know.
There you go. So, yeah, well done, girls, on that one. Tobias Weber in the MJ15 with plus 34 over his rating for the tournament.
Oh, right, over his rating.
Over his rating, yes. Right. So, no, very strong showing from Tobias there. And great to have junior categories up and about for the tournament.
I drew Tobias the first round. One of the guys.
You did?
One of the blokes on my card was calling him Toby.
Oh, he doesn't like that.
Didn't feel right. Yeah.
No.
I call him Toby.
Yeah, just, I don't know if he doesn't like it. It just doesn't feel right. Yeah, it'd be like calling Roland Webber Rolly. Anyway.
So, yeah, FA4 and Christine Go, great job there to turn up. It turned up, was it a minute before tee-off in the second round?
Yes.
So did well just to get there. And, exceptional effort to have no any training warm-up or anything. She just basically rolled out of the car and through. So, well done, Christine.
Grumbled a bit about me almost missing the tee time then through. Yeah.
MA4 was a tight one, went down to the wire. It was the only playoff.
I think it was,
Chris Scott and David Wood. David Wood with a plus 73 event rating. And came from nowhere on day two. And
he was on my card.
He was on his card. We'll get to you. So, yeah, Chris Scott and David Wood in a playoff. And I happened to be finishing hole 18 as they were going down hole 1. And I saw it was pretty much over straight away. So, as playoffs often can be. So, but they played it out. Yeah, very solid win there for David Wood. So, it'll be his first. So.
Yeah, look, before you get to me, credit to David there. We played a lot with him, obviously, out at Stony Creek and Melton and around the western suburbs. I've played a lot with David. I saw him have an absolute... He had one of those nights at Stony League last night. He had a pretty rough one, but played the round of his life, it's safe to say, on day 2 at Ballarat, and thoroughly deserved that win. He would have been in 9th or 10th on day 1. So great work, David.
Yeah. Do we have a celebratory post?
We don't have that there.
No, we don't need that.
We probably don't have the rating. We don't have the rating to show.
So,
that.
and also, just in MA4 there, Ash Wiedner finishing 4th. So he did tell us he was going to throw the tournament before it. So he decided to do that and just got his bearings a little out of whack there. So
I did a good job of throwing.
Did a very good job. Didn't even want to place. Just MA3, Ryan Miller, 2 very solid rounds, finishing on +1 overall for the tournament. It was a very tight battle over the last 2 or 3 holes because my tip for the tournament, Duncan McIntosh, was actually in the lead with 4 holes to go.
Speaking of
I should never happen.
We know what Duncan does when he's in the lead.
Yeah, I don't know if he
we're cut from the same cloth.
if he features on Matty's meltdown at all, but and Lee Joy was also up there. Lee Joy just jumped up from MA4 not long ago, so he's playing some really, really good disc golf. But unfortunately, neither of them could get it done against Ryan, who was too strong in the last few holes. FA2 division, Anita Webber, a commanding win and 35 over her rating for the event over Jessica Holman. So, there was only 4 shots in it after round 1. So it was pretty tight overnight, but Anita just sort of put the pedal down. And
I think it might have been also that advanced course, a bit more distance.
Possibly. Is she possibly a year or 2 older, Anita, or...
they're very similar in age. They're pretty good friends. We've mentioned it before on this. They're pretty good friends, the Webbers and the Holmans. So they're around the same age. Anita, I think Anita and Jess, I believe Anita's got her pipped by at least 6 months a year, but they're very similar in age.
So looking forward to that battle getting tighter and tighter.
Yeah, absolutely.
MA2, which is the division I forgot on the last episode, which nearly sent Kyle into a cardiac arrest.
But
it's
the biggest division every tournament.
Look, we mentioned it last week on the preview, but Henry Arnold was far too strong in that division. The young child who's 14?
14, 15, yeah.
I was just about to ask, obviously I play MA2. Who is Henry Arnold and why
you
is
don't
he
want to know
14
who
years old?
Henry Arnold play MA2.
So Henry Arnold's a young kid from South Australia. He's a Heiser flight kid.
Right.
He has some of the cleanest form I've ever seen. He putts. He's been spoken about on the Throwlers. Alan Brunsting was putting up at a tournament, and Henry didn't like the way that Henry was putting, so he decided to change his putt style in the practice the practice round.
Adaptive.
Yeah, and he's adapted and changed his putt completely and gone out and blitzed the course. So there's a lot of talk about Henry and certainly a lot of talk about him going into the MA2, and he didn't disappoint.
No, he 939 rated event. It was a solid finish from both Jess Castles and our man Sam Stoyer.
He's in the chat tonight.
But also, Penn dropped a few shots late and shuffled the sort of top four around. But
Henry had a great first round.
He did. He was flying, but
big swing in his score. I noticed that.
Yeah, a bit of a swing, but but Henry was just too strong, and that's the story really of MA2 from start to finish, wasn't he?
It really was. It was. We thought it was going to go that way, but it did. But there's some strong competition in Sam and Jess. And I just want to give you all at home a bit of a perspective on that battle from the GTC. If we want to have a look just here, here's your podium photo. So that's Henry in the middle there, and you've got Jess Castles on the left of screen, and Sam Stoyer on the right of screen. Sam just graciously coming into the chat there. Losing to a child never felt so good. Sam, love to hear Sam's thoughts on Henry's game, but because he would have seen it up close over that weekend. But I always say, like I said to Matty when he was playing against Mikey Hare at the Battle of the Burbs, Mikey was 17 or 16 at the time, and it's it's like, what do you do? Because if you win, you're bashed up a kid. All right, and if you lose, you've been bashed up by a kid. It's a no-win situation.
And Mikey's dad was caddying for him that day, so I really had to hold back on what I was
well,
thinking.
I just want to see. I know I saw Sam's tee shot. Sam parked it on hole 18 at Ballarat on the final day, which was incredible. It was one of the it was some story of luck, but he's put it under the basket, so he did everything he could. But I just wanted to wonder, I was looking at this photo, what it would have been like if Jess Castles had won. What would that photo look like? So you got Henry in second place now there, Jess towering over him on the podium, and Sam on the right. But what would it have looked like if Sam and Jess had have pipped Henry at the post? It wasn't going to happen. But it really looks.
Surely you got one more.
Yeah, we do. Yeah. So. What if Sam Stoyer had won?
Oh my word!
We did wonder how they would fit them in the frame if Sam Stoyer had won. But Henry, it's a good thing he's so good at disc golf because he's going to be on a lot more podiums, I think. And you don't want a bloke like Sam Stoyer towering over you like that. But look at Henry; he's still holding his plate. He's like, I'm in third place, but I'm going to keep the plate.
You had to cut off one of Sam Stoyer's feet to fit him in the frame there.
I'm sure Sam would be appreciative. Maybe knock him down a size or two.
So anyway, back to
you missed MA2. You missed MA2 last week. We had to go harder this week.
That's why everyone's tuning in.
So MA50, Nick Hall led from start to finish and was too strong by 3 holes over the MA50 cards there, which are all the usual suspects.
MA50, Jeff Brunsting, Brett
Yep.
Bobridge,
Met Nick Hall.
Terry Bowen,
yes,
yep,
okay. So all the usuals. So very strong there by
you met Nick Hall.
Met Nick Hall at Jumbuck. He's a very good player. He was actually my partner in the putting challenge we had.
Right.
Good player.
MA40. Now this one went down to the wire too, as I understand. These two were duking it out for most of the tournament. Lee Thompson won by 2 shots over Melbourne's Tim Ware. So solid bit of ice in his veins there for Lee.
Tim go?
And notable to mention, Huss was right with them right until the end, and she finished in 3rd spot. So real solid dig from Huss. So well done.
I still can't believe Huss is over 40. Staggering.
There's a few people you wouldn't believe are over 40.
Yeah, I get that.
Into the FA1, and the usual suspects returned again to duke it out between the two of them. But the two-way battle has become a triple threat.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's no longer a like at WrestleMania where it's a one-on-one and then it becomes the 3-way.
Yeah.
So we've got and as we said last time, Janet Ford Adams joined the party there, and
The Assassins.
Yes, the Assassins. 3 things we learned. Emma was solid, and it got her the win throughout the tournament. Georgia was a little loose to begin 2024.
Mm-hmm.
And Janet is right there with them. They're the 3 things I learned about FA1.
Good takes.
Well, we're really looking forward to seeing a three-way battle in FA1
absolutely.
this year. They need some competition up
There.
there.
Seesaw back and forth.
Yeah, push them up into FBO. Push each other up into FBO.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. MA1. Benny O'Byrne, the Ballarat Badger, which is something I just made up there. Just for a bit of alliteration. Sorry about that.
That name sounds Italian.
Was in front overnight, but dropped a couple on the back 9, and Ethan Lewis ran over him by a shot in front of Alan Brunsting and Sven Nutman.
Who is Ethan Lewis?
Yeah, so he was sitting there waiting in the wings. Now, I assume you'd all know who Ethan Lewis is. Apparently, he's been around for a while, and he doesn't play all that often anymore.
Right.
So he's Victorian?
I'm not sure, to be honest. I think he's from down Geelong, mate.
Probably someone. I'll keep an eye on the chat.
Yeah, but he was around a lot a few years ago, but I think since started a family and that sort of, so he can't get
right.
That could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I remember hearing that.
Okay.
Check out Throllers for more details. I think I remember Chris mentioning something about.
That's where I think if anyone's going to know about someone that's been around the scene for a while, it's going to be Ronald and Brunsting. So yeah, it wasn't a joke.
So MA40 and the spokes Rubenberg was far too strong for the rest of the field. 7 shots over Alex Casales.
Yeah.
So that's a commanding win from Ruben. And first one in the tank for Anthony Pearsall and the spoke disc golf. So
points.
You think he's back the right horse there?
Oh yeah, I mean it's like back in Mackay Diva in a 3rd Melbourne Cup run.
You couldn't go against it.
No, exactly. But yeah, wow. What did we say last week? What did you say last week? Pearsall the shark.
He's a shark.
Yeah.
He's a shark. So now on to MPO. Obviously, there's no FPO division, but MPO. Now after day 1, Ryan Hart was flying. He was a flying over. He was in front by 3 shots, I think, after round 1.
I think it might have been 2, but yeah,
2,
regardless.
Yeah, he had a really, really good first round. So he was well out in front. Come round 2, we were filming that card, and it was not pretty for Ryan Hart to start. Unfortunately.
No, a bit of a struggle.
He was being on TPAD Cam, you get to hear a lot of reactions. And I think for the first 4 holes, I just heard, oh, no. You don't hear much from him anyway. But, yeah, so he blew out a bit. And Dylan Feldman, who we've spoken about, was on fire, hitting putts, C2 putts for fun. Started with a turkey and would just look like the man to beat. He was absolutely flying, wasn't he?
Absolutely. He starved himself of lunch and was like, I'm going to eat these 4 holes for breakfast.
Second breakfast.
So, he was flying out of the blocks. And I think Ash Radio to Kyle and I at one point, it's Dylan's to lose at the moment because we just couldn't see anything if he just kept going like that. But then all of a sudden, there's another bloke who some of you may have heard of called Dave Perry, who was also playing on that card.
Dave Perry.
And about hole 6 or 7, he flicked the switch and he just unloaded. And he just started commanding that entire round. He flicked the switch with a Matty Faz half dozen. For those of you who are aware, that is 7 birdies in a row.
Yeah, half a dozen.
He ended up with 12 birdies and a 10.42 rated round, and ended up winning the tournament by 3, 4.
And with a bogey as well.
In there, yeah.
That's ridiculous.
He was huge, absolutely huge. Rhino cleaned up and his round with 4 birdies in a row. Started the back 9. Couldn't catch him, but finished with a solid tournament. So, yeah, Perry by 5 strokes. And Dave Perry's first win for 2024.
Probably the first.
Here we go.
And the question I've got to ask, guys, is we had him on as a guest last week. Do you think him being a guest on this show, he was blessed and that's why he won? Because I have had that thought.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, it's unequivocal.
We don't have a guest. We were going to have Dylan Feldman on, but he's over in New Zealand at the moment for the New Zealand Nationals. I think they've all gone over for. I can't keep track of the tournaments over there at the moment. Don't care. It's in New Zealand.
I did pick out some Feldman stats. Actually.
Well, I was going to ask you about that because he's over there for Nationals. And if he is watching over there, I know it's late at night over there, but if he is watching, Jace, you've got some stats, and I think Dean has some overall stats on the Golden City Classic as well after that.
So first and foremost, I went to our mad scientist stats man, Dean Feeley, and I said, I need you to get me some stats because I've got a feeling that Dylan Feldman, we all know he came back from quite a serious injury, and he's just come back to competition maybe a couple of months ago. But I'm sensing maybe that he's still on the road to recovery, and he just might be fatiguing a little bit in the back half of his rounds. Now, obviously, there's other factors in play. Back nines can be easier than front nines and whatever. But just as a loose sort of general fact, I got the stats man to pick apart his last 5 rounds from his the 2 tournaments he's played, and this is what Dean Feeley was able to come up with. So as you can see there in the Nationals, he's starting very well. His front nines are 4 or 5 negative down, pretty solid sort of rounds. He gets into the back 9, he's 1 over, he's 3 down, he's 2 down. We move on to the Golden City Classic, 5 down and 5 down to start the front nines. Now, you've got that factor obviously in play, which the front 9, the back 9 do vary. But just as a general sort of rule, neg 1 the first round on the back 9 and 2 over on the second round. So I'm sensing what I'm basically getting at is I think Dylan Feldman's still on the rise after his injury. And I think the best of Dylan Feldman is still to come. I think he's only warming up. And I just feel like 2024 is going to be Perry v. Feldman, and we're going to see some really, really tight battles. So keep going, Dill.
Yeah. Thanks for pulling that together. It's really interesting to look at. It's going to be a great big tour battle with Bill and David there. Coming back from a back injury myself, you've had a disc injury yourself, as you, Jace. Matty Faz is injured every second week. Kyle's not old enough to get injured yet. Dean, Dean's coming back to the game after having a child. So we're all, I think we can all relate to that, and it's really interesting to see the numbers, tell the story there. The backs do take a long time to come back from, and he's only a young guy, Dylan, and he's got a long back. So it's very interesting to see. I hope you're right. To be honest, I hope you think you're right. Yeah, it's a pattern, isn't it? It's a pattern. So that's going to be interesting to watch. We're going to check back on that over the season. Dean Feeley, what can you tell us about the Golden City Classic?
Well, Ash, you brought up the question whether in the second round a lot of us dropped off the pace. Now, whether that was the wind, weather, lack of practice on the blue baskets. So crunching the numbers for you, overall, the entire 108 field or 105 field, on average, we're about 7 shots worse on the Sunday compared to the Saturday. Now, the pros, the MPO, MP40, negligible, 1 or 2 shots. The real difference was the amateurs. I guess the same principle applies that Kyle sort of brought up, whether it was the longer distance. There was a few temporary holes, so baskets that wouldn't be there normally, so you can't really practice. So the amateurs were about 8.5 shots worse on the Sunday. MA50s probably struggled the most. They were about 12 shots worse off. But out of all the amateurs, which I didn't do the math in terms of amateurs minus pros, but only 3 people performed better. So Georgia Carroll, FA1, 2 shots better on her score. Alexander Mayer, MA40, he was 3 better on his Saturday score. Wow. And Troy Faramond in MA1 was 4 shots better after coming from the easier layout, you would have thought, and put in a really decent effort. So I don't know. What do you think? Is it the course? Is it the weather that played a factor?
I've done a bit of number crunching myself, Dean, and it's interesting to hear 8.5 strokes as the differential. I went and specifically looked at purely the holes that stayed the same between day 1 and day 2 for the amateur divisions, and even those hole 1, 2, 4, 8, 17, and 18, those played half a stroke harder, being the exact same hole across the 2 days.
Wow.
So, yeah, it was really interesting to see. I think there are a lot of factors.
Is there another factor which I believe in, and I don't know, I'm sure how you guys feel about it. There's another factor where I believe in 2-round tournaments, rounds generally drop off in the second round.
Yeah,
Is that something I imagine, or is it a real thing?
I mean, I feel like it could definitely be something, and it might be more for the amateur divisions of like, you know, you practice on day 1, you get a feel for the course, and you might, instead of playing safe, go for riskier options in the second day. Whereas looking at the MPO division, you know, their second day is where they push. They really try and like deconstruct the course and attack. So it might be a mentality thing even.
And let's be honest, amateur disc golfers aren't exactly known for their endurance fitness. I'm speaking purely on a personal level here.
Yeah. I mean, something I thought on the course that day, I noticed myself, you know, sort of like leaning off those holes a little and not throwing as far as, you know, I perhaps should have and stuff. And maybe it's a habit from the first day, or you're getting to that long throwing action rather than that touch action of the shorter holes, and you get into that long throwing rhythm, and you know you're overthrowing holes, you're shanking it into a tree because you're overthrowing it, or something like that. I mean, that we're talking at low levels. Obviously, your pros aren't doing that sort of stuff. I made the comment, and I'll say I made the comment on the Saturday night at the pub, you know, shooting my mouth off as I do after a few hard solos. Cheers. And just sort of saying, you know, like hoping against hope that the Ballarat boys and the locals don't practice the blue baskets. You know, they go out there for a casual and they play the yellows. You know, so that was where the impetus of that, you know, and I made it up. You know, nothing against the Ballarat boys, obviously. Good on them. And there was, you know, but we did see the differential in the end, but it was all of us, you know. And
so, as Zach James has just mentioned too, the weather was a factor.
And I think to that as well, it's how, you know, you deal with wind.
Yeah.
Like, you know, even the acknowledgement of, you know, a tailwind drops, a headwind rises. Like, not all AMs are going to think about that. Whereas, you know, these pros that have like tens and tens of tournaments under their belt, we're in Australia, let's keep it real. But yeah, with a lot more tournament experience and a lot more, I guess, just general know-how, you can mediate that slightly. So,
yeah, absolutely. Zach James has also come in and mentioned, I don't know if it's been addressed, but he did want to drop in and say if there's any way for Timmy to keep throwing his Taipan. I don't think so, Zach. I don't know what the deal with Prodigy is, but I do know that Timmy has mentioned auctioning off the Taipan or putting it on plastic stacks.
Surely we can just get a Prodigy disc and just get a permanent marker and just write Taipan on it.
It's like a mental jog for it.
The fun, like, not to go back to Timmy again and give him any more airspace than we already have, but the interesting thing Kyle and I were talking about is Prodigy doesn't really have a replacement for a Taipan.
I was about to ask, what is
there's no one. The
Kyle,
feedback
the
would
expert?
probably be the closest.
What is the closest thing to a Taipan?
So probably
just to under 10 minutes.
Probably for I'll try, Jace. All right, no. So Prodigy has this issue where basically their most overstable stuff isn't like a utility disc. Essentially, you've got the reverb, which Tim already throws and is loving. I've heard. But anything more overstable than that, you know, your real meat hooks, they've been out of production for years. So you can try your hand online at getting an X1 or an OG H1, which is like the original mold.
What's a Taipan equivalent to? Like, pick any other manufacturer. Like, what?
Probably like a Juggernaut. Like extremely overstable.
Like
13404. Yeah.
Okay.
Adder, Fortress.
Yeah.
I got a beefy D1 I can give you.
Yeah. See how we go.
Innuendo Ash?
Hey? What was that?
BT D1.
Yeah. So that's the golden Golden City Classic, really interesting start. Two courses that we didn't think were that different that turned out to play a hell of a lot different over the course of those 2 days. My only advice, my only takeaway from that: if you go out to Ballarat for a round at any time, get on, play the blue course, because you're going to take strokes on the field on day 2 of the Big Wet and the Golden City Classic next year. Now, we're almost to the end of our time tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, I say that like we can't just talk all night, but we can't. But we do have a new segment. It's hopefully going to be a popular one. I'm a little bit apprehensive about what's going to happen. But we're going to bring in, he wants to be called Professor Parked.
Gents, I'll have you know that there is absolutely no joke happening here. So do what you will with this. Meet me up, Scotty.
Am I still in frame? I can't quite see the.
Yeah, I'll pull it out.
Oh, anyway. So,
oh God,
as usual, this conversation normally happens. This normally happens at the pub the night after a round, but I've dug into the stats a bit with the intention of quizzing all of these guys on some of the GCC happenings.
I thought you were going to put a costume on.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Jason, to let you down like that.
He's dressed up as 90 Hugh Grant.
So I'm going to kick it off with a pretty simple one, right? So pros played a different layout to the AMs, but are the pros actually better at those holes than the AMs? There are 4 holes on the course that had a lower scoring average from amateur divisions than MPO.
Are they the ones where they use the same basket?
Yep, where they use the same basket. So
Ooh.
strictly day 2 for the AMs. Can I have your guesses?
Hole 2?
So you're saying the AMs average lower on this hole than the MPO division did. And the MP40 division you're including as well.
And
all right.
the same hole across both.
Same hole across both.
So day 2, blues. All right, Dean's probably furiously told. Dean's dropped out, has he?
Oh, Dean's got to go, maybe. Oh, no.
Oh, so, all right. So I just thought
hole 4?
16 has to be one of them.
Not
Oh,
guilty.
they're not using the same basket.
No, it is the same basket. You're on the right track here.
Hole 4?
4 is what I'm thinking.
4?
No.
16 doesn't use the same basket.
No, love. No.
Are you going to tell us as we progressively
I'm going to give you a hint. There's two on the front and 2 on the back.
17?
No, I think it's 18 because I didn't see a lot of pros try and birdie that hole. They didn't need to on day 2. You know, they needed to par out.
Crate has two good guesses, but neither. They were close though. I think 17 was within half a stroke from the AMs to the pros.
So it has to be 1.
So,
1, yeah.
Ash has got 18. Hole 1 played very hard for the AMs based on the stats.
I'd agree with that.
What an easy,
First throw of the day.
what an easy hole.
I mean, you look at the hole on just as the whole breakdown. It's not a difficult hole, but it's the first throw in the tournament. And the AMs, as we all know, not exactly smooth. But
Zach, 1 or 2, no luck. Frosty, hole 5, also no luck.
The water part 4, that's 5, yeah.
No, I'll give you. See, you've got 18. Ash did a great job there. I'll give you 1 on the front 9. Hole 3 was played better by MA1 than MP.
Yeah, okay.
Hole 3.
That makes sense.
it's a tight shot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a tight shot for the and that's when the pro guys when the playing field levels out is when they've got to throw it back, isn't it?
Yeah.
They've lost their edge. That's
Craig has got it.
13.
In the chat, 13.
13.
Craig's on fire tonight.
Well
I'm
done.
just trying to picture 13 in my head.
Doing a lot of good things in the chat, Craig.
13.
Guardian Trees, is that 13?
This is any AM division versus pro. Any AM division versus pro, Zach. Turns out they were all MA1s versus MPOs that got the wins, but all AM divisions were considered.
Right.
13's the one out of the woods.
Yeah, 13's the one out of the woods.
Out of the
12.
Oh, no, that's 12,
That's
sorry.
12, and then 13
13's
goes
the
up.
par 4.
13
Shooting
goes
into the
up.
open field and then sharp around the corner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, yeah, I guess we didn't see 13 played overly well on our card.
So,
Yeah.
so you're missing 1 more, and it's the hole with the biggest gap.
Front 9, back 9?
Front 9.
1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5. It's got to be 8.
9?
No. There's
7.
only 2 holes left.
7.
7.
I think the pros try and get too fancy on hole 7 because that's got that back basket position from the Vic Open.
0.47 shots different between MA1 and MPO
What
on
did,
hole 7.
what did the AMs shoot on it?
Sorry?
What did the AMs shoot on it?
Oh, sorry. Let me have a look here. Hole 7.
A glass and a
The
half.
AMs shot. They averaged a 2.6.
Yeah, okay. Wow.
Yeah. Well
Yeah, right.
done, Zach, as well.
Yeah, okay. Nice work, Zach. Great, no way.
Craig can't believe
It
it.
is feeling a lot like hot dogs as a show at the moment.
All right.
All right. Now,
Next one.
so I'll try and move on.
Dogs.
So people always complain about the yellow basket of hole 6 feeling harder than the blue basket of hole 6. For
Yeah.
those watching online, the par 5 to the par 4.
Yep.
But realistically, with the stats, which hole actually played harder? I've crunched the numbers, and if you can give me a guessed differential.
I would say definitely the yellow played harder.
Yellow played harder from Jason. Maddie, what do you
I'm
got?
going to say blue because I've birdied the yellow.
Really?
I've birdied the par 5. Yeah.
Ash, what have you got?
I'm trying to think through. I think potentially the blue tempts you to miss the Mando, doesn't it? On that second shot, that's the danger.
The
there.
yellow test.
Well,
Yeah,
I guess
both
both of them do.
Yeah, it depends.
We're right-handed, Kyle.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah. Look, I'm going to say yellow. Just to.
What does Dean think?
What does Dean think?
Dean, have you got a guess?
I hate the blue basket, so I'll go blue.
Or
So Zach James has got six blue over yellow by about 0.3 to par.
Zach, you are on the right track. Blue is harder than yellow by 0.5 of a stroke,
Wow.
with an average hole score of 5.4.
Wow.
Frosty agreed.
Yep.
And the biggest difference over the weekend was MA4
Shocked.
with 1.7 strokes.
Mm.
Hole 6 had a higher scoring average than hole 6 blue had a higher scoring average than the yellow, ignoring pars.
Well, five on blue on 6 blue is a par for MA4.
Absolutely.
Like that's what you're going for.
For sure.
Yeah.
For another fun fact, smallest difference was in FA1 with both holes playing exactly 1 over,
Well,
which is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Now, I've got another fun one here.
Ooh, they're all fun, Kyle.
They are all fun to me, but to you, maybe
bring on
not.
the shit ones, Kyle.
No response with your knowledge, Professor.
We've already spoken today about jumping around divisions and stuff like that. So, speaking of, what do you think the stroke difference between MA1 and MPO was? On average, all of the rounds averaged, strokes taken. What was the difference? And likewise for
Which hole?
MA3 and MA2.
No, so it means across the weekend, it took your average MPO player 102 strokes to get through the course. What did it take your average MA1
So
player?
how many strokes is
Oh, so the
MA1 away from
differential.
MPO?
I'm going to say, I don't reckon it was much.
No,
I reckon it was about 4.
Jason, you're on the right track.
I'll take 3.6.
I remember
Matty,
thinking
what do you
they were
got?
overlapping quite.
I think the MPO players are generally 5 shots better than MA1.
So,
Dean Feeley.
Dean, what do you got?
Geez, MA1 against MPO.
Yep.
I think with Peaches, you got to basically, the averages would bump it up for MPO. So say 4 shots better.
Because Zach James, MA1 probably 1, counting the yellow layout.
Yeah, I only consider the blue.
Yeah, okay.
I should have mentioned that beforehand, but
Great saying 1 stroke.
Craig's kept
On
it
Zach
low
saying
too.
on the blue, I'm saying average of 7.
I tell you what, Jason Dean, finger on the pulse, 4.17 strokes.
Yeah, well done,
between
Dean.
MA1 and MPO.
Which way?
MPO
MPO.
beating
Yep,
MA1.
okay.
Yeah. Now, the interesting part of this is I also crunched the numbers on their ratings. The average rating in MA1 is 31 points lower than MPO, which, with 9 points for a stroke, would put it at about 3.5 strokes as the expected difference between divisions.
Yeah,
This is
right.
getting
So
mathematical.
the average round rating, you
Yep.
mean that they shot over the weekend?
Their average player rate.
Average play, okay.
Yeah.
But the MA1 player rating. Now, how big was the field?
It was 10.
10.
Players, I believe.
So we've got one player
10
in
and
there.
15.
Matt Hill is what, 970?
50?
950.
Oh no, 970.
He's pretty high, yeah. So he's bumping that average up. You know,
They have
that
skewed
10.
it. What
By about
is
10
skewed
points.
though
Yeah.
is MA2 and MA3. What do you reckon the stroke difference between those divs were? MA2 and MA3.
MA2, yeah, half the field was under in MA2. I remember seeing, and the winner of MA3 was over. So I'm going to say probably 6.
Look, I'm gonna skip this entirely. Jason, within 0.03 with 6 strokes. 6 strokes between MA2 and MA3. You are killing it. You've watched enough disc golf.
Well, what I was assessing on whether or not I should move up to MA2 yet, and I came up with the answer of no. I think I'll just see. Dean and I happened to. We did call that we were going to play on Sunday morning. I said I'll see you early on Sunday morning, Dean, and like clockwork, 10 to 9 or 10 to 9. I think it was 10 to 10. Turned up and Dean and I found ourselves on the second bottom card in MA3. So we can set a watch to it then.
Well done, boys. I'll finish off the segment with one more fun question. How good is your imperial measurements, boys?
Oh,
Actually, Ash uses the imperial.
I can.
How far in feet is hole 14, which is the par 3 with Guardian Trees, according to PDGA Live?
It's 192.
Your hint is the fact that it's 122 meters. I'll give you that straight up.
366.
Yeah, 370.
375.
According to PDGA Live, and I'll show this to the boys now, it is 3,937 feet.
A bit off.
If you all want to go have a look at PDGA Live for GCC, you'll find this extremely fun bug on PDGA Live on the course stats. Reese Circuit, what is going on here, buddy?
I think Marcus Velotta can actually throw that.
3,937. My gosh.
That's ridiculous. I don't know if that's particularly nailed imperial measurements. But boys, we filmed. Matty just mentioned Marcus Velotta, the Estonian beast man, and we filmed Marcus on day 1.
Yeah.
With his first step up into EPO. The man's gotten bigger.
He's a big boy.
The man has gotten bigger. And I looked at him at one point after he jammed a putt into the chains, and I just sort of had my camera, and I just sort of looked at him and I went, he goes,
yeah, throwing boulders or whatever.
yeah, you could think. I remember seeing him at Nationals.
Barrel wall challenge at the Mr. Olympia contest.
Marcus won the raffle at Nationals, and he won one of those new RPM baskets. I believe it was an RPM basket, wasn't it?
Yeah.
RPM practice basket, and he's literally just walked up and picked it up with one hand, used the second one to steady it, and just lifted it above his head. You know, Tusken Raider from Star Wars style. It's like there's only one man in the field that could have done that, and it's Marcus Velotta. He is a beast. Alrighty, so we're just about. Thank you, Kyle. Kyle's quiz.
What a
Professor
segment.
Park. Where did Professor Park go?
You missed the segment, Kyle.
Right.
It was interesting and funny.
Oh, you should have
Matty,
been here,
thank you for your
Kyle.
kind fake words. I really appreciate it.
You would have loved that quiz, Kyle.
Oh, blew me away.
We've got one more segment left for tonight before we wrap up, almost at time. Jason's going to take this one. He's going to introduce us to a new segment he's been cooking up.
Yeah, now this has been washing around in my head for the last week.
Right.
I'm proud to bring us a brand new segment that it's basically about, and what I'm going to do is look through, we all love when we see players throw a really bad shot.
Yeah,
Or
we
a
do.
shank. We love to hear it. So I'm going to be combing through the footage and finding my lamb shank of the week. And it's got to go to someone, unfortunately. And
Does it though?
we've got a little intro prepped up, so sit back and enjoy.
Now spray your day.
It's coming to the
Butcher!
So This is Lamb Shank, ladies and gentlemen.
Sam Barnett, everybody.
How's this going so far? Really well.
Yeah.
And,
Sam Barnett. That
so
kid.
this week he was going to be a guest on our show, and we featured him a little heavily in the MPO discussion, but he couldn't make it on the show tonight, Mr. Dylan Feldman. So unfortunately, mate, you have made it as our Lamb Shank of the week, and you're going into the Shank Tank, mate. Golden City Classic on the weekend. Second round, like I said, he started on 5. But hole 13, I think it was, or 14?
Hole 13, correct.
13,
Yeah, 3,000 feet.
he ended up deep in this bush here that guards the basket. And look, I mean, it's not a great spot, and there's not a lot you can do from here. But he's got his caddy here.
And trying to help him out.
Just trying to work out what he's going to do. And I remember I was on the camera there at one point, and I thought, geez, I don't know what you can do here, Bill, because you're just deep in this bush here. But he's here. He is doing his pre-flight routine.
Can he go the flex forehand?
Flex forehand. He's going to try and sort of, whoop, there it goes, up. And there it is, about 20 metres away on the right-hand side.
Watch it.
So congratulations, Dylan Feldman. You are our first official Lamb Shank and the first one in the Shank Tank for the week. So congratulations, mate. He'll be rapid.
The inaugural tanker. And he tanked
We will be tallying up the Lamb Shanks through the entire year, and there will be a winner, and there will be a trophy awarded. So get out there and make sure you throw your shanks.
Do we have a name for that
I
trophy?
will be watching.
Is there a name for the trophy?
We'll get back to you on that. Yeah, we'll get back to that.
We'll workshop it.
Yeah. It's still, I don't know if you can tell, but it's still very early in the production of Lamb Shanks.
Jason,
It can only get better.
I think I've got you a name for the leaderboard. It's the Shank Ranks.
The Shank Ranks team. It's just, this is how it happens at Park. So stay tuned for the Lamb Shank every week. I've got a feeling it's got like an almost football legend type of vibe.
Yeah.
One of those things that people are going to tune in at the end and just be waiting to see what Jace has picked this week as his Lamb Shank. So,
Well, thanks for the Shanks.
not a problem.
Thanks for the Shanks. I look forward to seeing the ranks in the Shanks tank. They're getting dank throughout the year.
Really thank Professor Park's segment, that one.
Yeah. I really expected that segment would have stank, but it didn't. It's great. Frosty.
Shank bang. I think you're talking about something different
Frosty's
there.
coming. Dan Frost, ACT legend, has come in saying he hopes to make it to the Shank Tank one day. Frosty, we filmed you a lot last year. I'm sure you'll be fine.
But Frosty makes a good point there. If you have got some suggestions for anything that I might have missed, feel free to drop me a line. I haven't got a Parks Media email yet. But
Even if you, honestly,
throw your mates under the bus.
Yeah.
Throw your mates under the bus.
Yeah, absolutely. Send me in. There'll be a home viewer prize as well. So send me in your Lamb Shanks.
Yeah.
And I will comb through all the footage.
You just dobbed us in for a prize, didn't you?
Yes.
All right.
End of year prize.
But even if you film your mates, out on the course, if you there's a cricket in the thing.
That is a spider.
Oh, is it?
The camera's still on us. That's great for me.
Don't worry, Matty. I've dealt with it.
God.
We just had a spider in the studio for those of you listening on Spotify. Wow, how did a spider get in here?
Let's just cut back to Ash.
Yeah, okay. All right. So, Frosty, I'm sure you'll have no problems getting in the Shank Tank. Film your mates, film them out there on the course, send them through to Park Media, tag us on Instagram. We'll tally them up for the Shanks each week. Sam Stoyer, I followed that. All right.
Jason, how does it feel to be called out like
Sam Stoyer with the
Sam Stoyer in the chat's going to follow Jason around the Stony Creek League next week and get his Shank Tank entry in.
This is fast becoming the most popular disc golf segment in Australia.
Yeah,
I can
certainly.
feel the energy behind it.
The engagement on this segment is
huge.
All righty. So at that, ladies and gentlemen, on that bombshell, as they say, that's all we've got time for. All of your time we're going to take up tonight in the Park Clubhouse. Thank you so much for tuning in, and thanks for tuning in if you've sat through this on YouTube afterwards. Thanks to Kyle Herbertson for putting together that quiz. Thanks to Matty Faz for rocking in, bringing his sign from the Vic Open.
And surviving that spider attack.
Promoting the spider attack.
Jesus.
Melting down. Jason Wiedner for bringing in what he's coined the most popular disc golf
It's going to
segment.
be huge.
Big claims. Big claims.
All right, no more hard solo for Jason. And thanks to Dean Feeley dialing in all the way from Geelong and missing Inverleigh League night tonight. So, well, I mean, it's not a big deal missing Inverleigh League night, is it? You're just going to get bashed up by a course.
I mean, you could have seen Tim's first iteration of the Prodigy bag.
Yeah, it's 4 discs. Yeah, absolutely. But no, thank you, Dean Feeley. From all 5 members. Sorry, Dean.
Thanks for having me.
Did he say Shanks? From all 5 members of the Park Media team to you guys that have watched, please tell your friends. Listen to it on Spotify again if you can put yourself through this again. We'll be back here before the Ruffy Rumble, which is happening on the 17th and 18th of February, which is not this weekend, the weekend after. And we'll be hopefully talking to some people involved in that and getting you ready for the Ruffy Rumble and what's happening next in the Vic Tour. We've been Park Media. Like and subscribe. Share this around. Tell us how great you think it is. Tell us how shit you think it was. Tell us what you think could be better. Disc golfers are never too shy in telling you what they think could be better. So we look forward to hearing it. We love you. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for watching. Good on you, fellas. From Zach James. If you haven't watched it already, watch Zach and Frosty's commentary on the spring sling. A lot of people have. We'll see you next time. And until then,
Shank it.
shank it. Until next time, shank it. Love that, Frosty. Well played. Night, everyone. Night, Crate. Thanks for watching. We'll see you then.
Bye.